QPR 6, Pompey 1. At least I think it was 6. I came away with a couple of minutes of the added time left. So it might have been 7. I don't know. Guy Whittingham said after the 5th goal went in, what can I say? But at the end of that game, I'm going to go further, and I suspect you share this thought. Not so much what can I say, what can I think? It's impossible to get your head around what happened at Loftus Road this afternoon over a 98-minute stretch of football. Let's look at it lots of funny old ways. If you were to edit out the goals and show the 82, 85 minutes of non-scoring football, you'd be hard pushed to work out which side was going to win. You sat somebody down and said, we've taken out the goals, you just get to see the game. Who do you think, after the final whistle, who do you think won? There'd be an argument. I think anybody would say if anybody did win it, they shaded it. 2-1. 1-0. Was it a 3-2? Nah. Plenty of people would have gone 1-1. But it was 6-1. It's going to be one of the mysteries that we'll take to the grave, each and every one of us. You, me, all the 18, 19,000, probably more, die-hard Pompey fans in Portsmouth, around Portsmouth, across the UK, in so many various countries. Pompey Sound is listened to by an awful lot of people in the United States of America and in various other countries that would surprise you a little bit. Japan, not the Soviet Union nowadays, the Russia, of course. But my point is, all of us who have seen this game, and I don't think you'll get this from the highlights, because when they show the highlights, when you see the highlights on YouTube, you will see just 7 goals. Because they only have time for about 9 minutes, don't they, when they cut it down to highlights. But to watch the entire game, as those of us who are lucky enough to watch the entire game, it will be an abiding, unsolvable mystery. It is the JFK assassination saga all over again, a parlour game. You can sit and discuss and think and talk about it until you're blue in the mouth and the brain. How on earth did we end up losing that one like that? 6 is the beginning of the ignominious scores. 5 is a lot of goals to concede. 4 is a lot of goals to concede. We don't like 3. But when you get to 6, well, next stop 7 or 8, and then, you know, you're making headlines on the sports pages. Everybody's eye is attracted to a game that's got a 7 or an 8. Actually, everybody's eye is attracted to a game whose result has got a 6. And today, that was us. We're the side that conceded 6. I've got to have a swig of beer. I've just got to step further away from the door and into the great outdoors. I mean, hang on. A lot of our players played really well, I thought. A lot of our players played true to form. Regan Poole is commanding. He didn't make any glaring schoolboy errors. Shaughnessy is Shaughnessy. Probably our best solid centre-half. Right back Devlin, left back Ogilvie. That's a solid defence right there. And in front of them, Pack and Adams. And yet, QPR 6, Pompey 1. That's a terrific defence. We've got an excellent goalkeeper. A terrific back four. Very good back four. Good as anybody in the Championship. Pretty close to being as good as anybody in the Championship. And 2 guys screening them 2 guys in front of them, and Swift was playing quite deep as well. So we had the cover. And yet, QPR 6, Pompey 1. People are bewildered. Pompey fans, some will be angry, some will be climbing on the bandwagon of calling for heads to roll, wanting to let blood. That's not going to get us anywhere. There's still lots of points to be played for. But there's a mystery that I'm looking forward to a man of the ability of John Messino to try to solve for us what happened there this afternoon. A 3 p.m. kickoff. I was beginning to drift towards the view that maybe 12:30 kickoffs and 8 o'clock kickoffs and Friday kickoffs and Monday kickoffs, they were beginning to throw us a little bit. And of course it's the same for everyone. Or is it? Are we getting more 12:30s, Fridays, Mondays kickoffs than most in the Championship? And if so, is that playing any part in us being where we are? Along with the injury crisis, of course, which is the other major culprit, definite major culprit. But we put out a pretty good side. OK, Colby didn't start. And when he came on, he didn't make a great deal of difference. Swift had a checkered game, I think is the phrase that they would use. There were times when he just looked a little bit not disinterested, just that his commitment in some of the second balls and 50-50s was measured. Put it like that. Ali, poor Ali, occasionally does get past his man nowadays, and that's good. You can't expect to get past your man every time. But he took him on, as John Messino during the week said he wants Ali to take his man on. If it's one-on-one, take him on. Ali did, and on a couple of occasions he got decent crosses in. But he still looked as though he was perfectly happy not to be given the ball unless it was in a lot of room, sufficient room for him to turn, not get clattered, and take one man on. That's what he wanted. And you don't get that very often in the Championship. So there were plenty of times when he wasn't quite up to the pace. Segacic huffed and puffed, but didn't actually manage to produce anything. And Brown got into a couple of decent situations, didn't he? He had a couple of half chances or quarter chances, perhaps. Good on him for doing that. But we need them to go in. We need them to hit the back of the net. Everybody was shooting from 28 yards along the deck. Well, no, there was the one that went in almost off the bar. Beautifully taken goal, it has to be said. But a lot of their shooting was speculative, and the ball took a tiny deflection. There's nothing you can do if you're a defender or a keeper. If the ball takes a slight deflection, it's just, rock, paper, scissors, or the equivalent of rock, paper, scissors. It's just a matter of luck. It's the roll of the dice, isn't it? It's what the Americans call a crapshoot. But they were, I'm not going to milk that metaphor and say that their shots were crap, because they weren't. They were along the deck, they were fast, they fizzed. And we had plenty of... Now, I've just remembered. I don't take notes. I've just remembered something I wanted to share with you. I'm sure you thought this yourself. Didn't we make their keeper look good? Didn't we give their keeper lots of opportunities to go diving and making saves that made him, made him look spectacular? If you'd been the keeper for QPR on this Saturday afternoon, and the final whistle was about 5 minutes ago, you would be thinking to yourself, an awful lot of people thought I kept out several really good shooting opportunities for them. I did. Well, he didn't. He didn't. I'm afraid some of our shooting was too measured. The actual shot itself had no sting to it. And I love the guy dearly, but Eboué Adams had an opportunity, loads of space, edge of the box, nobody within 10 yards of him. The ball actually sat up for his shot. He didn't need to go first time, although that probably would have been of assistance the way it turned out. He actually managed one and I think maybe even two touches to tee it up, and then he had so much time he picked his spot, but the goalkeeper could have walked to his left and caught it. Of course he didn't. He did a great big fantastic back-arching dive to keep it out and enhance his reputation enormously for being a stopper of so many shots. But so many of our shots just lacked cut and thrust. They lacked aggression. They lacked spite. Yeah, you've got to hit the ball spitefully from 25, 28 yards. And we didn't. Why? I don't know. Maybe we're going to end up saying it was just one of those games. Those of us who still retain hope. I'm just going to have another quick swig. See, I'm reduced to doing that because, as I said, I don't know what to think. There are plenty of people, Pompey fans, who will use that result to reinforce the arguments that they have about the dire state that Pompey is getting into this season. And it has to be said that now there's no hiding from that straightforward truth that we could be in trouble and that we could be playing Division 1, League 1, football next season. And I saw a brilliant comment on the Portsmouth Evening News. You don't get much on social media that you want to repeat, but one Pompey fan said, I'm looking forward to getting back into League 1 because we'll have Saturday afternoon kickoffs again. You know what? There is an attraction to that. There was only one Premier League game at 3:00 this afternoon. You know, gone are the days when you'd have 10 games and you'd see the results. The results are all in now here, and here is the Premier League gone blah, 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 and down and down, down. There's one game. There were quite a few games in the Championship, but of course we're getting no more games at 3:00 in the afternoon on a Saturday at Fratton Park between now and the end of the season. And the end of the season is beginning to look like something that we don't want to spend too much time thinking about. We've got an international break coming up. There will be players returning from injury after the international break who hopefully will make a bit of a difference. We still have a game in hand on the teams around us, but we are now right bang in the middle of the relegation zone. The results did not go particularly well for us elsewhere. And I remain of the view that Guy Whittingham got it right after the 5th goal went in. Soft penalty, wasn't it? And yet if you look at it again, Colby did put his hand in the middle of the guy's back and give him some sort of impetus. Of course he made a meal of it. We would. Colby himself would have made a meal of it if it had happened to him, surely. I'm not damning him in saying that. A penalty's a penalty. And the guy who takes our penalties is going to want a penalty to be awarded so he can take it. And it's all part of the professional game. But it was a soft penalty. The guy did make a meal of it. But when that 5th goal went in, Guy Whittingham said, "What can I say?" Or "I've run out of things to say." Something like that. But I refer you to what I said at the beginning of this lament is the right word. I don't know what I think. I believe they may have had 6 shots. I think they may have had 6 shots. And the final, and we had more. And the final score, I've got to do it, sorry. QPR 6, Pompey 1.